Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit Sunday pregame show coming to you on Saturday. Because, like always, we do everything ass backwards.
Or we just do it super forwards, like we're just thinking for the future. The main thing is we listen to our viewership and the numbers suggest that you guys want it on a Saturday. So we'll
Yeah,
have it on a Saturday.
it gives people more time to watch it, too. So, like, if some insomniac sitting up in the middle of the night tonight thinking about football, going through YouTube, goes, let's watch what these two fucking morons have to say. And then they tune in.
I use different types of football analysts at different points of my day. So at night, when I'm trying to go to sleep, I listen to Pete Florio because I don't really Mike Florio, sorry, because I don't really pay any attention to what he's fucking saying. So I can just zone out and go to sleep. It's great.
And oddly, I don't know when this happened, but you saying Pete Florio got me thinking. Peter King has become so ridiculous in his old age that I kind of want to slap him.
I thought I was about to say Peter King, but then I realized that it's actually Mike Florio that I'm watching, and Peter King just often happens to be there because I can't listen to the shows with Chris Sims at night because he gets too amped up, and I actually like Chris Sims.
So. And I can't watch the ones with Cherie.
Yeah, poor Cherie. I just can't watch the ones with Cherie.
I can't do it. It'll be a title. I'll click on it. I'll see her. I'll back right out. Like, I'm done.
Yeah. Sorry, Cherie.
I'm not.
It's nothing to do with you personally.
Wait, what is
you're not a very good sports analyst.
What does your generation say? Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, sorry, not sorry.
All right. Well, let's talk about that fucking, hey, not going to lie. Thought it was going to be a boring ass game. Steelers, New England, Patriots lived up to the fucking, like, past the hype because I actually enjoyed the fucking game. I enjoyed watching it. And I know you and I have a little bit different take on kind of what happened with the Steelers. I still think their best bet moving forward is either Mitch Trubisky or Kyle Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph. I think that.
Yeah, I want them to bring out retired Kyle Rudolph out of retirement, tight end, put him at quarterback. They might be better off. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
All of them suck balls, but it just I don't think Kenny Pickett's it.
I don't think Kenny Pickett's it either. I think Kenny Pickett is a better quarterback than Mitch Trubisky. I think Mitch Trubisky has serious accuracy issues, is the way that I look at that entire game. Is Mitch Trubisky has massive accuracy issues. The interceptions are because he's not accurate. I think Kenny Pickett has decent accuracy issues. I just don't think he has the actual athletic talent and ability to be a quarterback at this level.
I don't disagree with the accuracy, but the only thing is, and this is a Kenny Pickett thing, and it has nothing to do with Trubisky. It wasn't great, but the running game was better because he would at least take shots downfield. Kenny Pickett refuses to throw the ball more than 15 yards. Just fucking flat out refuses. And the Steelers look like a team to me on the sideline that aren't really a team, if that makes sense. They're just a bunch of guys playing together. And that goes to leadership. And I never thought I would say this, but maybe it's time for Mike Tomlin to go.
Yeah, so this is what this is my take on the whole thing the next day. You can't lose to the Patriots and there not be repercussions. Like, the Patriots are a bad football team right now. Like, they made Zeke Elliott look fucking amazing. Zeke looked great.
1 second. So I set up my wife's fantasy team for her work fantasy football, and everybody she's got as a running back is either injured or on a fucking bye.
Mm-hmm.
I go in on the waiver wire. I'm like, fuck it. Let's try Zeke. 25 points you got off fucking Zeke.
Yeah, Zeke's had an actually half decent fantasy year this year for like a league like ours where there's not a lot of where if you can get 7 points a game from a substitute running back. But Zeke over the past few weeks has been averaging 13 fantasy points. So not a bad play actually. Zeke, but it made Zeke look good. Like, there's not like it goes. There's got to be repercussions from that, from losing to the Patriots the way that they did. And
they're still in the playoffs.
Yeah, it feels like the Steelers get out to these starts a lot of the time. Like I think back to their 11-1 season, they get out to these starts or 11-0 season, and then they tail off towards the end. And I think Tomlin's coaching gets them so far until they start to get picked apart from like the bad football teams that they actually are. Like the Steelers haven't put together a good football team for a few years now. And I'm wondering what that is because you actually look at the talent on the offensive side of the ball and it's not good.
Well, and
it is good.
Sorry. I said this the other podcast when we were talking about the Vikings and Josh Dobbs' horrible performance. Mm-hmm. If they're not young or they are not your solid starter, why are you not just throwing Mason Rudolph in that fucking game? Why are you babying Mitch Trubisky at that point? Why not in the middle of the third quarter are you not like, we need a fucking spark and maybe Mason can do it because he ain't going to play any worse than what we got on the field. Like when Josh Dobbs threw 4 interceptions. He's a journeyman. He's not fucking Dak. He's not fucking Aaron Rodgers, and he's not a rookie. So why are you babying him? At that point, you could have put Nick Muse or fucking Jaron Hall in, and they couldn't have done any worse because the dude threw 4 interceptions. So, like, I'm thinking that last night. Mitch Trubisky can't hit a fucking bullseye painted on the side of a house right now. Why not try Mason Rudolph?
Yeah, and Mitch Trubisky seems to be incredibly unpopular in Pittsburgh as well. I don't know if you had the sound on from the crowd at points in that game, but the crowd was chanting for Mason Rudolph.
Right, but here's the problem. Just last year, they were chanting, like, pretty much kill Mason Rudolph. That's just a very bitter Steelers fan base right now.
Yes, definitely. But I think you can ode like they from I think the first 2 drives they'd already had enough of Mitch Trubisky. Like Kenny Pickett, they like Kenny. The reason that you play Kenny Pickett as the Steelers is the fans seem to also really like Kenny Pickett. So like at least it feels like you've got 3 of the quarterbacks where you're going to get very similar production out of all 3. Kenny Pickett is younger. The fans seem to like him. Like, at least they're not turning on his team.
So, like, my question is why in the middle of that third quarter didn't
we should be seeing Mason Rudolph? Yeah,
like we should have saw him at some point in that game. We should have saw somebody else besides Josh Dobbs in that fucking Bears game. Like they literally had a chance to win it, and the guy on the field threw 4 fucking interceptions. Why are they so afraid to switch quarterbacks in the middle of a game? I get if he's a rookie. You don't want to ruin him, right? A young guy. You don't do that to a young guy. You let him just go through it, take his lumps, and learn. You don't do that to an established guy. But those guys in the middle, why are you babying them? They're not your future anyway. Mitch Trubisky's not anybody's future. Like, so why are we worried? Like, if he's playing bad, put in the next guy and see if he has a better night.
Yeah, definitely. And you're not. Is your aim to really get to the playoffs if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers? Because I feel like you'll get to the playoffs and get stomped.
But if you're Mike Tomlin, yes, because the Steelers have only had 3 coaches in the history of their organization. They don't fire coaches. So if you make the playoffs again and have another winning season, it makes it even harder to fire the coach who's the second longest tenured coach in the NFL and never had a losing season.
Yeah. So in that game as well, that the Steelers defensively had a horrible quarter and a half to start the game. The offense put them in a shitty situation. Like
you and the Canadian were going a little bit back and forth. And you said something about, but your fucking defense stinks. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
So I went and looked at the stats because I was very curious on where the Steelers fall. Everything except scoring defense, they're right around 20, be it 19 to 21, 18 to 21. Scoring defense, they're 6th. So, they stink. I didn't watch a ton of the Steelers, so I went and wanted to just see where they were ranked when you two were arguing.
I guess scoring is the point of the whole thing, but
they stink.
I do think that's because the Steelers don't score a lot of points. So you play conservatively in terms of point scoring against the Steelers because you only need a certain amount of points to beat them.
The
I'm not
yards,
really sure what it is. Their red zone defense is good.
I was just going to say, too, the yards they give up is unfair because the offense can't stay on the field. But they are, they stink.
But they gave up more points in a one game to the Patriots than the Patriots scored in the past 3 games before that. Like, that's what they look. However, like, they did then shut them out in the second half. So
they broke the over under in like the beginning of the third quarter.
Yeah, So but you look at it, and they did shut them out in the second half. So fair play to the Steelers defense. Bailey Zappi is not the answer in New England, everybody. Bailey Zappi throws one of the ugliest balls I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, Bailey Zappi also went for 19 of 28 in an offense that is only bubble screens, 240 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception.
Oh, he threw a couple fucking daggers.
He threw a couple of fucking daggers.
Dude, that throw to Hunter Henry in the fucking end zone, that was a dime over the top of the defender. And that shot to Juju down the sideline, and big props to Juju for hauling that in, too. But that was a fucking dime. I'm not saying he's the answer, but he seems to be better than Mac Jones.
I think Bailey Zappi has a few dimes
better than Mac Jones.
I think Bailey Zappi has a few dimes in him, and then throws one of the ugliest balls in the NFL from there.
Peyton Manning threw the ugliest ball I've ever seen.
Yeah, I honestly don't. I think that
Phillip Rivers threw a horrible ball.
Phillip Rivers didn't throw a horrible ball. Phillip Rivers had a horrible action to throw a nice ball. But Phillip Rivers had a tight spiral, looked good, but the technique looked horrendous.
And Peyton Manning threw wobbly ducks everywhere.
Yeah, Peyton Manning did throw wobbly ducks, but honestly, watching Bailey Zappi, that can't be your guy. Surely not.
I'm telling you, he's better than Mac Jones. Every time you watch him play, he's better than Mac Jones.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Anyway, 2 teams that should be nowhere near the playoffs by the end of this whole thing.
I'm going to laugh when the Steelers still make the playoffs. I mean, they got the Colts, Bengals, Seahawks, Ravens left. You could beat the Colts, maybe. Bengals are beat up. You never know what's going to happen with the Seahawks. So does 2 wins get you in the AFC? If they win 2 of 4, are they in?
What do they finish on if they? Yeah, maybe
9-7 or 9.
Yeah,
8?
Maybe. Yeah, probably will. Actually,
saying, in the AFC, you don't know.
In the AFC, it probably will. They should hope that it doesn't.
Well, it depends if they still want Tomlin there or not.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so with New England, I'm pretty convinced that Belichick's gone after this year, but they definitely need to do something at quarterback, and they need better wide receivers.
Yeah, with New England, I'd just tear the whole offense apart and start again. Defense, you're good. Keep the defense, you're fine. Offense, tear it apart and start again.
I just think you need to add a number 1 receiver and a quarterback, and you can always work on the line. But I like their tight ends. I like their 2nd and 3rd wide receivers. I don't think they're as far off from being a pretty good team as everybody else does.
Yeah, but then there's the coaching issue as well. Like, I know you've got Bill O'Brien there, but...
Well, I don't know who will be there. I just thought it'd be a good idea.
Yeah, I think they just tear it all down from the offensive side. Once Bill Belichick leaves, the whole building needs, like, cleansing. Like, walk through with some sage and some thyme and cleanse the air and then just start again. Get rid of this idea of the Patriot way. They've got good players, you're not wrong. They have good pieces, but I think there needs to be a culture change and everything up there.
Well, yeah, I think the coaches do that. I'm just saying players-wise, I don't think you need to blow the whole thing up. And just was my thought. Like, I like their tight ends. They could use a guard, and if they had a real number 1 wide receiver with a real quarterback to throw it to them, I mean,
they maybe need 2 wide. They maybe need 2 wide receivers and another young running back.
Um, oh, I pulled it down. What the fuck is the other kid's name who was running? I thought he was running better than Najee Harris, and they kept giving the ball to Najee, and I was like,
Warren. Yeah,
yeah,
Jalen Warren is way better than Najee Harris. It's
oh,
like watching Tony Pollard and Zeke last year.
yeah, it was weird. I know I switched up on teams, but it was just a random thought I had. I don't know why the Steelers didn't give the more explosive kid more fucking reps. All right. So we talk some betting lines.
Let's do it. Let's get into the week.
As
There's
I
some
just
crazy
watched
betting lines.
I just watched the Bears Lions spread change
The
right in
money
front of
line's
my eyes.
changing. Yeah, the money line is changing the entire time.
All right, so we'll start with Tampa Bay traveling to Atlanta. Atlanta are 2-point favorites at home. I got no faith in either of these teams at this point, and it would be a very weird move, but Tampa might want to look at Bill Belichick coming off this year.
Interesting thought. I really don't hate that idea, actually. Tampa, it feels like the wrong environment, if you get what I mean. Like Bill Belichick needs to be in cold, grizzly environment.
Do you follow Brady's leaving too? I think that's where it's weird. Like,
yeah, he can't go to Tampa and then not win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's probably true too. Yeah.
He has to win a Super Bowl if he goes to Tampa. Yeah, this game. Did you see Chris Godwin's wife calling out the coaching staff in Tampa?
No, but wives, brothers, and dads need to sit down and shut up already.
Yeah, she was basically saying they didn't give Chris Godwin the ball. They were making bullshit excuses for not giving Chris Godwin the ball, saying he was coming on and off, but he got the same amount of reps. Like, all of that, they were making bullshit excuses. And you just think, like, he didn't get the ball because he's never open, because he's washed and not that good anymore. Like, is that the Chris Godwin that we're looking at now? I do see this as a game where Tampa can kind of pop off. I have a bit more faith in Tampa's offensive production in terms of their pieces, not necessarily been on show all year, but I have more faith in the pieces here that Tampa have, because I don't think that Arthur Smith uses the pieces that he's got in Atlanta well enough. Baker is way better than Desmond Ritter. In a close game, I'm going to take the +2.
Nobody hates Arthur Smith more than you, not even Atlanta fans.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is about. Oh, well, I do know exactly what it is about Arthur Smith.
Is it because his dad's a billionaire?
Maybe that doesn't help his cause in my books, but what it is, you can't have this many fun offensive weapons and create such a boring offense. Like, because he's been taken there to be an offensive mastermind with all these crazy offensive weapons, and it's like the dude just doesn't get his best players the ball. He uses Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts as decoys all the time, rather than just getting them the ball.
Maybe to go along with what you were just saying earlier, maybe it has something to do with that Drake London's not as good as you think he is.
Maybe Drake London isn't as good as we think he is. That's a fair assessment, that Drake London might not be. But I think it's Drake London's body, and we saw the catches from Drake London last year, and Drake London's body type. I feel like they don't utilize him as much in just throwing up a one-to-one ball and just relying on him to moss people.
Well, it boiled down very simple to me. I'm taking Tampa because I think either team can win, and I just want the points.
Yeah, I'll take Tampa because of the points as well. I rely on their offense a bit more. I think they also have a very stout run game as well. So give me Tampa.
All right, now here's a big spread. We're gonna go LA traveling to Baltimore. The Rams versus the Ravens. Baltimore's favored by 7.5. Coming off a game where Matthew Stafford went the fuck off.
Yeah, I feel like the Rams have been disrespected all year. I feel like we're in disrespect Rams territory. I feel like we're in.
They just signed Mason Crosby.
Year. All right, okay. So, yeah, get a kicker in there as well. Was there an injury to their last kicker, or did he just...
He'll be their third kicker this year.
Interesting. Strange. Yeah, that'll be weird to see Mason Crosby playing in the league, but not in Green Bay. That'd be interesting. Yeah, they a wildly disrespected team. In my opinion, Sean McVay is still the best offensive coach in the league. And you have 3 top wide receivers. You have Matthew Stafford, who is an experienced quarterback, but also seems to have the arm talent this year that we're used to seeing. I think Matthew Stafford at points is playing way better than he did in the Super Bowl this year. You also have a kind of put together defense, like a bit of a mismatch, but with one of the best defensive players to ever play the game and Aaron Donald in the middle. I think the Rams are wildly disrespected. However, another team that is wildly disrespected this year is the Ravens. The Ravens, nobody seems to be talking about the Ravens. They're in an AFC that seems to be a lot weaker than we expected it to be. They have probably the best defense in terms of production in the league. And Lamar Jackson is putting together an MVP season without people talking about him putting together an MVP season.
They're the best team in the AFC right now.
Yeah, best team in the AFC right now, and people don't give them that fair dues. I don't.
And if somebody wants to argue, you could, the only argument I'll even listen to right now is if you want to argue the Dolphins.
Yeah,
I'm not listening to the Kansas City's the best team in the AFC argument right now. I'm not doing it.
I think the Ravens would beat everybody in the AFC in the minute. There's also the fact that they're something crazy like 18-1 against the NFC at the moment as well. In a recent stretch, they're 18-1 going into this Rams game. So I think the Ravens are going to win. Do I think they're going to win by more than 7.5 points? I'll let you do a bit of talking to see where we get.
I was just going to say I'm taking the Rams and the points, but I think the Ravens win. Matt Stafford played good. I'm the defense isn't horrible. Like they're middle of the road in everything. They're a really average team with an above average quarterback and an above average receiving core. So I think they can hang in a game with anybody if you're LA. I think the Ravens are a better team, but they don't play. The Ravens don't play the blow you out style of football. They hit you in the mouth, kind of close games, and then at the end they try to pull away. I think that's the perfect game for Matt Stafford to keep him in the game. I like the Ravens to win, but not by 7.5.
Yeah, I think the Chargers game maybe knocked my confidence in the Ravens offense a bit. I'm not sure they're offensively.
It depends which
put together
Sunday
as well as we think.
It's odd. It depends what Sunday it is.
Yeah, like I was just looking through their previous games and scores because obviously we say they play this close band of football, but they beat the Seahawks 37-3. They beat the Lions 38-6. They beat the Browns.
If I'm not mistaken, though, a lot of those points come in the second half, fourth quarter, right? If you're looking at that, can you see? That was my point. They keep it close and then pull away. I said, I think that's a perfect game for Matt Stafford to keep him in the game.
The Seahawks game is just a total beatdown all the way through. Sorry, I've lost it now.
They smacked the shit out of the Lions too.
They absolutely annihilated the Lions. That was early as well. The Lions was, they put up all the points in the first half.
Yeah, that was brutal. But
in their close games, I know what you mean. Like in the close, they play that close type of football, kind of like what the Eagles have been playing quite a lot of this year. But then they pull away, and then the Eagles just scrape through. But the Ravens pull away, and I get what you mean. Give me the Ravens in this game. I think they'll eventually. I think it'll be a close game, and then they'll win by over a touchdown.
All right. Carolina's going to the Saints. The Saints are favored by 6. Derek Carr has to be back because I had to pull Jameis out of my fantasy team this morning. So Derek Carr I
wonder how much Derek Carr switches the field of play. Look, I don't think we need to spend that much time talking about this game. They're two teams that I don't think anybody's really going to be watching. The Panthers, not great. The Saints defense will probably up Bryce Young. Give me the Saints at 6 points.
Oh, I definitely agree. Saints and 6. All right. The Lions traveling to the Bears. The Lions are only a 3-point favorite at Soldier Field because everybody's starting to see what I've been telling everybody in the beginning. Calm down. They caught Kansas City week 1, and Kansas City isn't as strong as we thought they were going to be. And they're not as good. They're a front runner, and they don't do well in really close games. They don't do well from behind. I said it at the beginning of the year that I thought they were like a 10-7 team. Now they're going to be better than that by the end of the year, but not by a ton.
Does this mean that Fields and the Bears are a little bit better than we think they are as well? If it's as close as this? No, just the Lions are that much worse than.
Yeah, because we've all conceded that the Bears have a decent defense.
Yeah.
They stop the run very well. They got young corners who make mistakes, but they're young and athletic. Justin Fields is an explosive play waiting to happen because for some reason, I don't know why, but there's a couple teams out there, and the Vikings being one of them, gave you the blueprint on what to do with Justin Fields, and people just don't want to keep him contained. Those pass rushers going for them sacks from the edge is what kills them because you have to keep the edge contained when Justin Fields is the quarterback. You cannot let him out of that pocket. The second you let him out of that pocket, crazy shit's going to happen because he's one of the most dynamic athletes in the NFL. So, if you keep that guy in the pocket, you don't have much worry. Like I said to you, leave it to the Vikings to knock him out of a fucking game, and the backup comes in and plays better than he did.
Yeah. The Bears defense in terms of points allowed is actually 6th worst in the NFL. However, in terms of yardage, they're in the top 10, which is really
bad field position because of your offense.
Field position.
I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying that's the first thing that popped into my head.
Yeah, surely it has to be bad field position there, right? It's kind of got to be. I wonder where the Bears are in terms of.
So I got a question that just popped into my head. Are you wearing Eagles green?
No, it's more of a Dolphins teal blue, but we've had this conversation about this jacket before.
Is it a North Face?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember now then. Okay, same jacket. I got you. Okay, my bad.
Terrifying.
I'm still taking the Lions minus the 3.
Sorry, Bears. Yeah, Bears are like bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
This is one of those games where I could see the Bears squeaking out a victory or the Lions winning by 30.
Yeah, give me the Lions in this one. I think this point spread is way too close. I think we're over adjusting here. I think the Lions do have.
They did almost just lose to the Bears a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and the Lions do have defensive problems against the run, so I think that Justin Fields could potentially have a good game.
They just lost one of their run stuffers too on the Lions. I forget who though.
Yeah, it's not a good matchup for the Lions.
Ragnar's out for this game too on their offensive line, on the Lions' offensive line.
Yeah, it's not a good matchup for the Lions. However, I think they're too talented on the offensive side of the ball because they do score points fast and quick, and I don't think the Bears defense can hold up in that. So give me the Lions plus the minus 3.
I think there's a small the Bears could fuck around and win this game, or the Lions could win it by 30. Neither would shock me.
I think if the Lions go in and just say we're the favorites, we're gonna push this down your throat and stomp you down, and we're gonna keep our foot down on your throat, they'll win this game.
Yeah, too bad they don't have that type of culture.
Yeah, they won't do that. That's what they need to do.
So we got the Colts traveling to the Bengals, and the Bengals are a 2-point favorite, but Crazy. Gardner Minshew's been slinging that fucking rock, and he's
all of a sudden Jake Browning is Drew Brees. Of one game, Jake Browning is Drew Brees. Look, he's decent and can throw to very good, very open wide receivers, which is great. I like Jay Browning. I think he looks like a decent backup quarterback, but he's not fucking Drew Brees. The Bengals are good. The defense is solid. However, the Colts defense is also solid. Gardner Minshew is a better quarterback. The Colts have a better run game. I'm obviously going to take the 2 points in this one.
Yeah, I was thinking about the money line, but it only gets you an extra $10. I'd rather have the 2 points, so give me the Colts and the 2 points.
It's an interesting money line, though. Like, what do you think explains that?
Um, because Vegas doesn't know who's going to win this game, and I think this proves that Vegas thinks that the Colts might be a little bit of a better team, but the Bengals are at home, and that always matters.
Yeah, I'd say it would be 1 point on an extra on a neutral field. I think it'll be close. I don't see the Bengals as better than the Colts with Jake Browning at quarterback because yes, Jake Browning looked like Drew Brees last week, but the week before that he looked just awful.
And the
I
Colts
know
can
he was
play
just thrown into
defense.
the game, and the Colts can play defense.
All right. Well, we got Jacksonville traveling to Cleveland. The Browns are 3-point favorites. There's been no report from either team on who their starting quarterback's going to be. DTR might be back. Otherwise, it'll be footsteps Joe Flacco. But I don't care what they say. I seen the videos of Trevor Lawrence at practice, hopping around, slinging the ball with zero wrap on that ankle. He's playing.
All right. Vegas seems to not think he's playing. So,
or the money comes in heavy. So we'll get to that on the Cowboys game, but the money came in so heavy on that game, it switched the point spread.
Yeah, which is a crazy amount of money to come in on that game. I guess that's with people expecting Trevor Lawrence not to play. Let's see if we've got anything else on Trevor Lawrence, but I have seen those training videos, and he looks like he's gonna play.
He ain't even limping, and he's slinging that fucking ball, bro. Like he's out there hopping, dumping. No, not even taped up ankle.
Yeah, that ball is coming out hard.
Yeah, he's fucking playing. I'd be shocked if he didn't.
Yeah, Peterson says he's optimistic that Lawrence will play, which probably means he's playing, right?
Because so you just all that said, give me the Jags plus the 3.
Yeah, so the Jags with Trevor Lawrence, I do think the reason that they played so badly last week, and I don't like getting into the emotions of football, is when you see your franchise quarterback walking off the field injured out for the game, you worry about that for the rest of your season. And I think that was going through their heads. I think they became over emotional on that. I think the Browns defense has been suffering without Myles Garrett. And I think if Trevor Lawrence has the time to throw because Myles Garrett isn't getting there because he's injured, I think he'll have time to dice up this Browns secondary. Give me the Jags plus the 3. We've agreed on every game so far, apart from the Rams Ravens.
Okay. I was like, I swear there's one of them. Well, yeah, I bet we're going to agree on this next one, too. We got the Houston Texans traveling to the New York Jets. The Jets have been in all kinds of the media this week, and not for good reason, because they were like, hey, Zach, listen, we want you to be our first string quarterback again. And Zach's like, I don't fucking want to be your first string quarterback again. I guess Aaron Rodgers reached out to him, and Zach gave him a little bit of a fuck you, too. But when it's all said and done, Zach's going to be the starting quarterback for the New York Jets, and the Texans are favored by only 3.5.
Does Tank Dell make that much of an issue? That much of a difference? Is that the thing here? Do we think that the Jets defense is going to shut down CJ Stroud and the what looks like a fantastic Texans offense? Because the Jets aren't moving the ball. Let's get that clear right now. Like, your quarterback doesn't want to play. I thought Nick Wright said something very funny. He basically said, yeah, if I was Zach Wilson, I would ask not to play as well because I wouldn't want to be embarrassed doing something that I'm not able to do in front of millions of people. Basically saying that Zach Wilson can't play quarterback, so he doesn't want to be embarrassed playing quarterback in front of millions of people, which is pretty harsh. But I don't think that the Jets are going to move this fucking ball at all because the Texans defense is solid. And I think that the way that the Jets get picked apart is by Kyle Shanahan offenses, which is what the Texans run. Give me the Texans in this 3.5.
I'm with you, and I think it's a low point spread. I think the Texans will handle this game. I think they give a lot of credit to the Jets defense, which you should, but when your offense is that bad, the defense can only do so much. My question comes, and I'm not saying he's going to change the world in anywhere else, but how come every quarterback that's stepped foot for the Jets has looked like complete fucking ass since Robert Saleh's been there, but yet it's not Robert Saleh. It's not the offense. It's not the coaches. Like, maybe part of the problem in New York is that offense. Maybe that's part of the fucking problem is that offensive system. And maybe it's not every quarterback who steps on the field is fucking ass for the last 3 years.
Mike White looked half decent. That would be the thing. But it's the offensive line.
I want to see Mike White play in that fucking Dolphins offense because I think you'd see more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like you'd see a lot more. So
again, that Dolphins offense is something else. But the Jets offensive line is the issue. It's going to be difficult for any Jets fans who are saying we'd be going to the Super Bowl if we had Aaron Rodgers. Are fucking delusional because that offensive line would have got him killed at several points during this season. The offensive line is horrific. I know it makes a big difference. Look, I know it makes a difference because he can get the ball out faster. It makes it easier for the offensive line. But when they get to the playoffs, they'd get annihilated by decent pass rushes.
And then I think Aaron Rodgers has helped every offensive line he's ever played for because the Packers offensive line wasn't that great with him either. Aaron Rodgers gets the ball out quick. He gets it out to playmakers in space, which opens up the line for Breece Hall, which changes everything. So I don't know about the Super Bowl, but I do know that they're in the fucking playoffs making a run if it's Aaron Rodgers. And look at how many close games they lost this year. That defense kept them in so many games. And Aaron Rodgers got to be at least +7, +10 on your point score if you're keeping up for the Jets, just because of he would help the running game 100% more too.
His connection with Garrett Wilson in the preseason looked pretty scary as well. So I know Aaron Rodgers makes a big difference, but let's not pretend like all is well in the Jets apart from the quarterback position because there's coaching issues and there's massive offensive line issues as well.
Everybody forgets Aaron Rodgers is the only quarterback in the history of the NFL to play well in this system too.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
He won 2 MVPs, but maybe it just fits him and not everybody.
Or maybe he just is the system. Maybe that's more.
Yeah, that's a good call too. So let's talk some Seattle Seahawks traveling to the Golden State to San Francisco, which they haven't played in San Francisco for years. The point spread on this game is 13.5. San Francisco is favored.
To me, that's another crazy point spread, right?
Does that just show like that Vegas has zero faith in the Seahawks?
I'm confused as to that point spread whatsoever because the Seahawks offensively looked. Look, everybody is saying that the Dallas Cowboys against the Seahawks, it made them lose faith in the Cowboys. The Cowboys did exactly what the Eagles have been doing all year, which is where they overcame adversity to win a game that they were behind in, and they played poor in defensively. But we don't get the credit for just getting the W. You have to have style points if you're the Dallas Cowboys. The Seattle Seahawks are a good team. They are a good football team of 500, okay? That is 13.5 points is massive. And I think it is how much they love the 49ers after they put the beat down on the Eagles as well.
Okay, again, that's not the same thing, by the way, but that's a different argument altogether. I'm just rolling through here real quick. So the Lions, the Browns, if you want to call them that. Yeah, it's the only two good teams that the Seahawks have beaten this year.
It's such a ridiculous thing saying like, oh, it's this good team that they've beaten this year. It's this good team that they've lost.
The Lions and the Browns are the best teams they've beaten.
You can only play who's in front of you.
And then they lost to a bunch of teams that that were better than like. It's not like they're undefeated and we're talking about their record in like, oh, they only beat shitty teams even though they're undefeated. I mean,
look, the Seahawks are a good team.
Lost to the Rams. They lost to the Rams. They lost to the Bengals. They lost to the Ravens.
All right, best team in the AFC.
The Rams again. They lost
best team
to
in
the
the AFC when
49ers.
Joe Burrow's
They lost
playing.
to the Cowboys. Like they haven't beaten a team that is any good.
Yeah, but the other teams, the teams that you're calling that they're playing against, there are the best teams in their respective conferences as well. That's like when we say the Cowboys lose to every good team, and it's like the Cowboys have only played the two best teams in the NFC.
And that's how you get to a Super Bowl, is going through those teams.
Yes, but I'm not saying that the Seahawks are fucking Super Bowl contenders. I'm just saying the Seahawks are a halfway
good
team. They're a halfway decent team. You don't have to be a Super Bowl contender to be an amazing team. Look, I think this point spread is a little bit of disrespect for the Seahawks. And I think it is mainly the 49ers have just put the beat down on the Eagles and are a fantastic football team when they're healthy.
Give me Seattle or San Francisco minus 13.5.
All right, give me Seahawks plus 13.5. I think they just get within that 13.5.
And Maddie, you're going to have to come on here and admit how wrong you were after that blowout.
Okay, do I get you to admit how wrong you were about the 49ers after their blowout against the Eagles?
No, because I wasn't wrong. I explained it in the last one.
I get to blame it on refereeing calls in this game.
If that happens in this game, you absolutely have the right to. Because I watched some awful. Let's talk some refereeing quick before we move on. How about that awful fucking false start call that was actually an offsides that would have put the Steelers in field goal range to tie that fucking game? That's like this.
That's the kind of thing that is the kind of thing that why is that not so? Why is that not on VR? Why is that not watch back immediately on all of those calls? Because that's a decision that isn't up for debate. Like that's a yes, this is the obvious evidence.
They're
decision.
arguing because
I mean?
he looked up that it was a false. I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that.
Every center does that in the league.
Every single one. And what if he was looking at the play clock to see how much time was left?
Yeah, you need more. Like they need clearer rules on a false start if that's the reason that they're.
It was fucking egregious.
A false start, an offside, all of that should be easy. Send to the booth, and it should be just obvious. Like that's a call that should be obvious every time. And if it's not obvious every time, then I'm not sure it's a false start. You know what I mean? Like a false start is very deliberate to yeah.
All right, so we got the Minnesota Vikings traveling to Las Vegas. The return of the fucking king, Justin Jefferson, is back. The Vikings favored by 3 on the road.
KT, if you're watching, Justin Jefferson is back. Get him in your team.
Who's he playing
Sort
against?
it out. Pingusto. Yeah. KT.
Drop it. He's in the group chat.
I got shouted at when I did it in the group chat all year last year, so I'm trying not to do it this year.
Hey, Duffy and fucking Moose have been doing it all season.
He's got somebody else sitting as well, where it's just like, yeah. Anyway, for our fantasy league, I need some people to lose to get the first seed. Okay. Minnesota Vikings against the Raiders. Again, this feels like a bit of a disrespectful point spread to me. With Justin Jefferson coming back.
And hopefully coming off 4 interceptions.
Yeah, hopefully Dobbs can just not throw the ball to the other team. It's much easier said than done. Let's see if he's able to do it. It's incredible how many interceptions he's had this year, Josh Dobbs. With JJ back, Jordan Addison and the other wide receiver, who's going to play your third now? I'd like Bourne.
It'll be KJ.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Powell play a lot more because he's so fast too. But you got TJ Hawkinson out there too.
Yeah. So, TJ Hawkinson. there as well. The Raiders had a nice let's do it for the coach bounce back spurt against the two of the worst teams in the NFL. I'm really not sure how this is this close. I'll take the -3 on this one. Look, I wouldn't be surprised in this game if Josh Dobbs throws 4 interceptions and then I get proved wrong. But I'll take the -3 in this one.
Josh Dobbs throws 4 interceptions and they don't fucking bench him. I think there'll be some hell to pay after the game. So I hate to say this, but I think Josh Dobbs is on a shorter leash than people might think going into
because obviously Jaron Hall is there as well.
And Nick
Muse, you need to evaluate.
Nick Muse, who the fucking Nick Mullins, sorry, who the fucking coaches love. So
yeah, we need to evaluate Jaron Hall now as well, and with JJ back, Jordan Anderson there, playoffs on the line. There needs to be that would be a good time, to bench him.
I do like the fact if he gets to sit the whole season, but I hate the fact that Kirk's hurt and I wanted him to sit behind Kirk the whole season.
Yeah, do you want him to sit the whole season behind Josh Dobbs?
I don't fucking know. I'm at the point where none of it fucking matters because we don't have a shot to win the Super Bowl and we're not going to be high enough to get a good draft pick. So whatever.
So it's all just fucked.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always cheer for them to win, but at this point, it's fuck,
Yeah.
All right. So we got the Bills traveling to Kansas City, and the Chiefs are only a 1-point favorite at home.
Yeah. I mean, what a game this was billed to be at the start of the year, and still what a game now for very different reasons. The Bills are 6-6, need to win this game to keep their season alive, basically. With the spread of games that they've got coming up after this, they need this game. The Chiefs also not need this game for the playoffs, but they need to start righting this ship. Sky's falling in a little bit in Kansas City. So
damn, Chicken Little,
big game. So yeah, big game for both teams here. The Bills, the only 1-point favorite surprises me because I think the Bills find so many ways to lose a game, and they have a quarterback who I like, Josh Allen. I think his skill set is amazing for putting up yards, and I think he's entertaining, but he will also find you ways to lose a game as well. Give me the Chiefs in this one.
I got the Chiefs -1 also.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's the Bills' year, and I think you're about to watch the decline of Stephon Diggs' mental health coming up here.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the Bills have shown that they're a good football team. Lots of people saying, the Bills can still make it to if they win this, they can still make it to the playoffs. If they win this, they can still make it to the playoffs. They haven't put a string of wins together all year, and they've lost against Mac Jones and Zach Wilson in this season. They're now about to go on a run of, where are the Bills? I just had their schedule up. Here it is. So the Bills are about to go on a run of the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Chargers, the Patriots, the Dolphins. So they need to win all of those games. So Chargers, Patriots, okay. They've got the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Dolphins. Look, would I be surprised if they won those games? Not particularly. Do I have the faith that they can play the brand of football that they need to win? Have they shown me that they're able to string those games together? No, not at all.
All right. So I don't disagree with any of that. And like I said, I think you're going to see a very upset Stephon Diggs coming up. And I told everybody last year, let the Bills have one more off season and one more bad season and see what happens over there. So I think that'll start. But let's talk about a game that nobody in the NFL gives a shit about. The Broncos traveling to the Chargers. Chargers favored by 2.5. I think that's actually crazy. Give me the Broncos plus the 2.5. Give me the points and the fact that the Broncos have a good defense, been playing better.
Yeah.
And Russell Wilson looks extremely average under Sean Payton.
Which is all he needs to do in the Broncos in order to beat the Chargers, right?
Yeah.
That's all he needs to do. The Chargers I just said the Bills find ways to win to lose. The Chargers find ways to just get annihilated. Like they don't find ways to just simply lose a game. Like they crush themselves. It's like they go out of their way to lose a game. So they're not finding them. They just have them at hand, ready to go in ways.
They want to make sure they give Belichick the best pick possible.
Yeah. Yes. I hope that Belichick doesn't go to the Chargers.
If you're Bill Belichick and you can take that, and they offer you that job, with the way you do with defenses and the fact that Justin Herbert is there, you take that job.
Yes, but what doesn't Justin Herbert have in his offense now? Wide receivers. What does a GM Bill Belichick never do well? Wide receivers.
People can change.
People can learn from the mistakes and not get involved in draft picks on the offensive side of the ball.
Or how about you just go overpay a number one free agent to come play wide receiver for you?
Oh, that's not the GM Bill Belichick way.
Yeah, but it wasn't that everybody goes, Bill doesn't spend money, and 2 years ago he dropped $135 million on the first day.
Yeah, on trash. Like it's like it yeah, on players who just didn't pan out. I don't see that. I think it's a good move for Belichick. I think it's not a horrendous move for the Chargers as long as they say, Bill, let us assess offensive personnel.
Oh, they got a horrible ownership group. They're not going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll just fuck up Herbert even more. Anyway, I think this is crazy as well. The Broncos are about all-round team. The Chargers have Brandon Staley as their coach. Give me the Broncos in this one.
All right, we got the Sunday night. We got the Eagles traveling to the Cowboys. This was the Cowboys favored by 1, and then money came pouring the fuck in on the Cowboys and pushed that spread out to 3.5.
I hate that.
It's put up or shut up time for the Dallas Cowboys.
It is indeed. Look, the Philadelphia Eagles. I've heard some good punditry on the Eagles' performance that I haven't thought of, and I kind of I can kind of get behind it in feeling sorry for the Eagles actually. So, the Eagles' last run of games, where they've won them and then obviously got annihilated by the 49ers. They had Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, and now they've got the Cowboys again. That's big heavyweight games, 4 games in a row. That's difficult scheduling. It's actually a run that the Cowboys are about to go into as well in terms of this kind of scheduling as well. So the whole idea of like they're tired after these big heavyweight games, I can kind of get behind. The Cowboys are going to come into this game hot. Mike McCarthy's going to have them fired up, which is not something I've been able to say with Mike McCarthy since he's got to the Cowboys, but they'll be ready to play from the go. Dak Prescott is having an MVP style season. The Eagles secondary is not good. The pass rush is tired after playing so many games in a row. Jalen Hurts seems to be playing hurt. The offensive line for the Eagles is a little bit banged up. The Cowboys are not a better team than the Philadelphia Eagles, but the Cowboys are meeting the Philadelphia Eagles at a really good time. Give me the not at 3.5. I did that analysis at like +1, at -1. Nah, go on, give me the 3.5.
Give me the Eagles in the money line.
And the money line. Go. Analyze.
It's what they do. They slow them down, beat you up, win the game. I've been analyzing the fucking Eagles for 3 weeks. I feel like I'm just repeating everything. So I will say this.
So what happened against the 49ers?
Well, they were owning the game until the refs got involved. We went through that. So go back and watch that previous podcast if you haven't seen it. What you're excited about for the Cowboys is what I absolutely think is going to be their downfall. I think they're going to be so hyped up knowing they have to win this game. You're going to see Dak overthrowing fucking dudes. You're going to see Dak throw a couple of his famous picks.
He's not famous for his picks. Dak Prescott has never been famous for his picks outside of last year. The only time he's had
What have you
bad
done for
picks
me
is
lately?
last year.
Last year, 14
Thrown
picks.
half the amount of picks as Jalen Hurts.
How many games did Dak miss last year?
Dak Prescott has thrown half the amount of picks of Jalen Hurts this season.
Which just proves how much better of a team the Eagles are because they're 10-2.
Yes, but Jalen Hurts is throwing picks, and we haven't mentioned the Jalen Hurts picks, but that's okay. In a Cowboys offense who pride themselves on taking the ball away.
Because Jalen's picks doesn't cost them games. That's why nobody's talking about it. I'm just answering your question. I'm not
no.
defending picks. I'm just saying we don't talk because it doesn't lose them games. So
the only reason they're even playing close games is because of his picks. And then he gets them out of the weeds. So good for Jalen Hurts for getting them the win. And
that is not
more important.
They don't play a massive scoring. That's not how they play. That's not how they played last year either. They beat you down. They run the ball. They fucking beat your will to live, and then in the fourth quarter take over. Like they're the type that snatches your soul during the game.
Yeah. What I'm always worried about is when we play the Eagles, especially.
And they're
in Philadelphia.
And they're gonna negate Micah Parsons' athleticism by quick screens, getting the ball out, running the ball a whole lot. Yeah. It's unless the Cowboys can jump up to a 14-point lead, that it's gonna really nullify what one of their biggest strengths is, and it's the Cowboys pass rush.
Yeah, I think with that Eagles secondary, then we will jump out to an early lead and then struggle from there.
But then you could have the same argument that, well, the Eagles will stay close because when it comes to the running game, the Cowboys can't stop anybody.
The Cowboys' running stats are not as bad as you would anticipate by how they look early. Look,
haven't they had 10 100-yard rushers or something on them this year?
Oh, yes. That's volume of run, but that's not important. It's a bit of a weighted stat. It's just because you don't pass against the Cowboys, but it is a bit of a weighted stat. However, the Eagles run the ball very well.
And I watched Bland look pretty bland in the last game.
He got a pick and he was inches off on an excellent wide receiver. Like Geno Smith couldn't have thrown those balls in a better position. If Geno Smith was out of that position by an inch, then they're knocked out.
So you think Geno's better than Jalen?
Geno's thrown less picks than Jalen so far this year.
Does that make him a better quarterback?
No, not 100%. But that's your critique against Dak. Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback.
No. I did not critique Dak. I just said he was going to do what he's famous for.
He's not famous for that.
He is. He missed like half the fucking season last year and still threw 14 picks. Like, I'm just saying, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's the only season where he's been. He also has the longest run as a rookie without throwing a single pick.
Really?
Yeah.
Should we go back to that Cowboys team and go through how any mediocre quarterback could have done great on that team his rookie year?
Is that Cowboys team better than this Cowboys team?
Yes.
Not defensively, they're not. The offensive line for Dak was a little bit better. This is a better version of Dak Prescott that we've got now. The wide receiver group
was better than.
I'm not.
The running backs.
Sure.
The running backs were top of the line.
The running backs was the game. The running back.
Top of the
running
line.
back is the position. Yeah, the running back is the position.
I
think it's close. I think it's closer than that.
I think that team kicks the shit out of this team.
I disagree.
I think you guys, and that's another thing. I think you overestimate the defense. Maybe if Trayvon was there, but your secondary is not the greatest in the league. Your linebackers leave the middle of the field open at times, and people can run on it. I think
we've got the 12th best running offense in the league. I know 12's not great, but it's not like you're going to lose the game because you've got the 12th best running offense in the league.
Best running defense. Or
Defense,
offense?
yeah, 12 best.
Yeah, and the Eagles are going to expose it.
Top five in passing defense as well. Look, I think it's going to be a close game. I'm not comfortable with
you
the 3.5.
refuse to take in and admit that the Cowboys just put up junk stats on bad teams.
I've never refused to admit that. I just think you shouldn't be chastised for beating who's in front of you.
Wait, so then all the stats you just give me are skewed because most of them were against shitty teams.
But they don't just smash it. But they just smash whoever's in front of them. Like that's not. They shouldn't be chastised for that. They can't be chastised for scheduling.
Okay, but you're missing the point. They had like.
No, I get what you mean. I get what you I get what you mean. The last time these two played each other, the Cowboys were 3.5 yards away from winning the game.
Hold on. Let's do this quick. Giants, Jets, Cardinals, Patriots. None of them were good teams. So then you go to the 49ers and you get mollywopped. Then it's
like the Eagles did.
Right. It's okay. So then it's Chargers, Rams. And that was
Rams are a good
Stafford. Then you play the Eagles and lose.
Rams without Stafford.
Huh?
Stafford played that game.
Did he? Or is that the game he got injured?
Oh, yeah, maybe we
I'll go back to it in a second. Then you lose to the Eagles. Oh, and then you get to beat up on the Giants, the Panthers, the Commanders, the Seahawks. Like, it's such a misleading, like any of the stats are so misleading because
we don't need to,
completely ass teams.
Yeah, we don't need to go through really this rhetoric too much because it's said so much in the fucking media of like, but you just
my propaganda is next.
You're getting given teams to beat and you're absolutely annihilating them. We can also go through those teams, look at the Eagles side of the stats, and they don't get the stats, but they get the wins, and that's fine. Let's see, because we have very similar schedules.
I'm sure Eagle fans would take the wins over the junk stats.
No, I agree. I agree with you. We're 3.5 yards away from beating the Eagles the last game. It's going to be a really, really close game. 3.5 points, I feel like is about it. I think I'd be more comfortable with 3.
I'm going to videotape this, but tomorrow I am going to the casino because I have to be I'm on purpose for no other reason but this. I am going to go stop at the casino because you have to do it in the casino. And I am going to record dropping $100 bet on the Eagles. And then I'm going to have you live watch me go pick up my $154 after they.
All right, we'll do. If I had $100 to bet, Jay, I would too, but I don't. So, yeah.
Well, get on your little sports app and even drop your $10 bet, and then
I will put my £10 bet on the Cowboys to win. I can't do that. I can't.
Pound.
I get too stressed out with the Cowboys.
No, I'm with you. I refuse to bet on a Vikings game. I fucking refuse. I feel like I'll jinx them. But that whole like £10 thing it still fucks with me.
Yeah. Okay. If the Cowboys win, no matter fucking reffing decisions, no matter fucking like anything, if the Cowboys go through and they get the win, can we say that the Cowboys have beaten at least like the Cowboys are at least contenders? They've played their schedule well and they've beaten a good team.
We could say they've beaten a good team, and they
played their 3 teams above 500.
But I'm not saying they're not contenders, but you can't just say they're contenders depending on how they win the game. Like,
so it is how you win games and style points, which means the Cowboys destroy everybody. The Eagles get really close.
No. Like, so
I'm messing with you, man.
No, what I'm saying is, let's say that within the first quarter, Jalen Hurts, God forbid, goes out. And
okay, that's fair.
And like AJ Brown. Well, then, like I'm just saying, like what the fuck is everybody gonna say? You know what they're gonna say. You know, I mean, what they're gonna say. But it's the same thing. Fair. If Dak and fucking CD go down in the first quarter, like no Eagle fan can talk shit.
They will, but yeah.
No, I get they will. I just mean it means nothing.
So will the Cowboys as well if we win if Jalen Hurts go down. I agree.
Yeah, that's probably true too. All right, we got 2 Monday night games, which I fucking hate that they're both at the same time.
Makes no sense.
I don't know what the fuck they're doing except competing against themselves for fucking views. Like,
maybe they're just hiding the Packers versus the Giants. Maybe they're just hiding the New York Giants
I don't
from
know.
themselves,
But
making them feel good.
let's start with the Titans, Dolphins. Dolphins minus 13 on the road. At the fucking huge points, or at home. Sorry,
That's a
Dolphins minus
monster
13
point
at
spread.
home. It's a fucking massive point spread. I think that, I mean, I got no arguments that the Dolphins are going to win. I'm just not sure about 13 points. I want to take it. I want to take the minus 13, but we all know how NFL games go, and you get up by 21 in the fourth quarter and you start playing a prevent defense, and then next thing you know, you win by 10.
Yeah, is Vrabel going to allow a team to get 13 points on his team? Look, I don't know. Can Will Levis not turn the ball over to Jalen Ramsey a couple of times? Will Derrick Henry have a good running game? It feels like a lot of ifs. What I know is the Miami Dolphins have one of the better schemed offenses and one of the most talented offensive I've seen.
And their defense is
especially
getting better.
against bad teams. Give me the 13.
Yeah,
Give me the
and
Dolphins.
their defense is getting better. Yeah, give me the
Yeah.
Dolphins and minus 13.
They're like the Cowboys. They destroy bad teams.
All right. Well, one of the worst games of the weekend, and it's the Packers versus the Giants. The Packers are favored by 6.5 on the road. I don't know why I got this odd suspicion that the fucking Giants might actually win this game. So even if they don't, I get 6.5 points. Give me the Giants and 6.5 for no other reason than a gut feeling. Because I don't know, like the Giants are fucking trash.
Yeah, with Tommy DeVito back there as well. I think the Packers defense is playing a lot better recently, like quite a lot better recently. And those young wide receivers and Jordan Love are growing together. I think the Packers are going to regret holding on to Jordan Love for so long, because what I think is they've got a mediocre quarterback who's been able to sit for 3 years and have really low expectations. Like if you gave other mediocre quarterbacks from the past 3 years to sit, they would also look like they can run an NFL offense. But we know they're mediocre because we saw them in the first 2 years. Give me the Packers on this one.
All right. Well, see, we didn't agree on everything.
We have some massive point spreads and some fucking crazy point spread this week. What's the craziest point spread to you when you're looking at that? To me, it's the Texans game.
That 2.5, or what was it, 3.5? I'm looking back.
3.5 Texans Jets.
Yeah, it's just because of that fucking Jets defense is so fucking
Yeah, that's my bet of the week though. Texans Jets. Put a bet on the Texans in that one.
Yeah, I'm looking. I think the Lions minus 3 is kind of wild too, but
yeah, that's kind of wild. I didn't, because they played so close the last time these guys played. I'm not like really confident in that bet. Well, I am still pretty confident in the bet, but that's why I'm more confident in the Texans Jets.
I am a little shocked that the Chiefs weren't favored by more than 1 at home.
Yeah, I'm also shocked about the Bengals Colts a little bit as well, with Browning and stuff like that. And if Trevor Lawrence is playing, then I reckon that point spread is going to swing on the Jags Browns.
Yeah, that's my guess too.
Yeah.
I'm banking on him playing because, like I said, we watched him.
Yeah, he looks like he's ready to go.
All right, Maddie, we made it through another episode. Our Sunday edition coming to you on Saturday. Run those views up. Hey, hit that like and subscribe. But hey, do us all a favor. One share. Share it one time. Just go hit it on Facebook or whatever. Hit that share. Share the episode one time to your friends. Do a ton for us.
Yeah. We're doing well this year in terms of our picks. So share it with some people and you can all make money. Doesn't that all sound great?
And you get to listen to Maddie's fucking accent. Who doesn't fucking love that British accent? Everybody
You
knows.
also get to listen to me getting way too emotional about the fucking Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, well, I get there with the Vikings, but everybody knows that all Americans have a weird thing for the British accent.
That's why the show works, man. That must have been why we went for it.
Yeah, it's an old American and a young fucking Brit. It's a very weird combination, but it works.
Yeah, it's strange. Also, Wisconsin's the best place for an American to have an accent from, as well. Not that you have a crazy Wisconsin accent.
No, but even Sam K fucks with me about the way I say shit, and he's from Vegas, and Vegas is one of the things he fucks with me on how I say it too.
I've always thought Vegas was the way you say Vegas is a little different to how it should normally be said.
Yeah, and he's technically from Texas, but he lives in Vegas now. So, but yeah, I get fucked with for my Midwestern accent. But if you go a little north of us into Upper Michigan, they talk like Canadians. So that's always strange. We're gonna go to the game, eh? It was a good time. Paul was down there, buddy. We was having a blast, eh?
That sounds fun to me.
Yeah, you just get that a couple hours north of us. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Like I said, please hit that like and subscribe. Share it one time. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.